off this winter because it's been winter. We haven't really been out doing much. It's been really, really cold in the Northeast. But anyway, it's not too bad today. It's about 50 degrees. It is raining. But I decided I wanted to put a little toy into my truck that I got, get it ready for Uwharrie. Picked this up over the Christmas season. It's a CB radio. I did have a CB radio that someone gave me at one of the Uwharrie meets. It was an older radio. I don't know where it is right now, but anyway, it's the tuning on it kind of floats in and out. It doesn't work really that good, and I had to keep it in my truck on the floor underneath my seat. And now that I got new seats, well, sort of new seats, the leather ones that are power, there's no place for it. So this new one I'm hoping to be able to put into this space right here beneath the radio if it fits. So we'll see. I'm going to try to do this and actually vlog it. I'm not real good at doing these kinds of vlogs where I actually have to stop the video and start the video and move things around, but I'll give it a whirl and we'll see if we can get this installed. A couple of weeks ago, Garrett had installed these chrome power mirrors for me, so they fold in, which is really nice. We picked those up at the junkyard. And also something else that I want to do before Uwharrie. This is going to be a little bit more involved, but somewhere in here we have a whole bunch of junk in here. I'm not seeing it. No, it's in here somewhere. There's my old mirrors. Anyway, it's a computer console that goes over the top of the car. Yeah, over the top of the car. On the ceiling of the truck up here. And it displays your altitude and the barometric pressure, outside temperature. It also has a compass on it. But I got that unit that goes right here. Have to do some wiring for that. And hook up the thermometer up front. So we'll see if we can get that done. And oh yeah, the big thing before Uwharrie, I'm hoping, is to clear out this rear end, all the fluid, and rinse it out with diesel fuel and refill it, and hopefully get rid of that sticking that is happening on the posi traction. While I'm driving, it's going thump, 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 thump when I go around turns really hard. If that doesn't work, then I'm probably going to have to pull the whole rear off and replace it. But I've been having a little bit of trouble finding an entire unit that's reasonably priced. But anyway, okay, let's get started on this radio, one thing at a time. So, we got the manual and the handset, bunch of screws for mounting, a mount for underneath the dash. I don't think we're going to be using that, and of course the radio. Pretty nice looking. And we're going to be hooking up power for it. I think the orange is so that it retains memory, so it remembers what channel you're on when you turn the car off. We got ground, so it's a pretty easy setup. It's just a matter of finding spots for it on the fuse box, and of course mounting it. So what I got to do is get this apart. Fun, fun. Well, my radio video has turned into something else now.
Thanks to me.
Okay, so what we're doing now is, when I got these seats, we didn't have the wiring hooked up for it because I didn't think the wiring was in there, but it is. It's wrapped up in this foam. So while we got this apart, we're going to go ahead and hook up the seat heaters.
Do you have switches?
Yeah. Oh. Wait a minute. I'm not sure.
You do.
I might not have switches.
I have one.
Wait a minute. We didn't grab them from that one car?
No, because that one was really gross, remember?
So these are the two wires for the right and left seat heaters. So we got them. The only problem is I don't have switches for them. Well, I don't have two switches. At least I don't think I do. I'm going to look in the cabinet because we've been collecting a lot of stuff. So there might be another one in there. But getting this foam off of here, it's all caked on. Could be from a soda that I spilled about 20 years ago. Not sure. Well, it's amazing how one job turns into another, but we looked around and we actually found the switches to go with those, so we're going to be able to put this in, and I'm going to have heated seats if the heaters work. We don't know, but we're going to give it a whirl. Maybe take the faceplate off.
That's why I don't have the faceplate on mine. Or, my faceplate doesn't interfere with it.
Alright, so the radio actually fits into that space pretty nicely, but getting it to mount behind it, that's going to be the difficult part. So I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do because the factory mount pieces do not look like they line up with any holes on the radio. Well, actually it lines up with one, but that's about it. So on this you can see on the radio itself, this is the mount, and it attaches right there and then is screwed into the side of the truck. On the CB, these really don't line up all that well. Let's take a look. So this is the mount. It's got that one hole, but I don't think it's going to fit. Also has this little nub on the back side that I have to press down and flatten it back out because it's rocking. So with just screwing those mounts on with the default holes, this is the way the radio sits in there. I don't think that's going to work. So I think we're going to have to make some modifications, but it's almost where it needs to be. Maybe just move it about a ½ inch maybe. Gonna have to drill some holes. Might be a little bit lower. Hopefully it'll work. So those are the 2 factory holes, and then the 3rd one that I just drilled. It's actually sitting in there really snug too, which is a good thing. Let's try the other side. I have no idea if that's going to line up. Go see if it fits. Doesn't like the extra light. Well, what do you think? I think that actually looks pretty good. Needs to be lifted up just a hair. When I tighten everything up, that should work. If not, I'll have to put something underneath it to prop it up a bit. But as far as the distance out, it looks good. And I don't think it's going to interfere with my shifter and my fingers. Yeah, it should be good. Plenty of space there. Cool. Now I just got to wire it up and secure it, and it should be ready to go. I actually decided that I'm quite happy with how this is set up. I was going to go buy new bolts for this. These are the bolt and the thumb screws that came with the radio for this mount here. This would mount underneath your dash, and then those thumb screws would go through there, and you'd be able to take the radio in and out. Anyway, I think I'm going to put some Loctite on these, keep them secured in the radio. But that's nice and tight. And then that little dimple on either one of these, actually, that like that right there, it actually went into one of those 4 holes in the radio, so it's on both sides, so it's perfect. Now the mount doesn't move up and down. And that was purely by coincidence that worked out that way with that new hole that I drilled. I'm happy. That's it. So now we got to route all these wires, and the antenna's got to get plugged in. I already have the wire for that over here. pretty good to me. So let's see about putting these switches in. Just for change. Thinking about replacing these switches too, because my lights are not working on those. They might be on this one. That's really dirty in there. I gotta clean that. Okay, got everything back together except the radio's got to go back in. That's in. And the seat is making a lot of noise. So that's the final product. We just got to do the wiring, which I'm going to take the orange wire and hook it up to one of my permanent connections here, which is this guy. And then I'm going to hook the red wire up to the cigarette lighter. And then I'm going to take the ground and hook it to the ground down here, and then we'll be finished. Alright, so after I put all that together, I realized that I have to get this wiring done for the cigarette lighter connection so that the radio can be powered on and off by the ignition in the car. So I had to take everything apart again, and this is what we're left with. So the cigarette lighter is right here, and this is the connector for it in the factory wiring, but I didn't want to tap into that to damage that, and I'm kind of cheating here a little bit with this connector, but I'm going to use this splice connector here with this short pigtail that I had, which also has a spade connector on one end and then the female spade connector on the other. So this will plug into the cigarette lighter, and then the power for the CB will connect into this, and then we should have power. I'm gonna have to put the camera down in order to do this. Okay, so now I got this splice connector connected. Power's in there. I taped that so that there's no exposed metal there, and it's plugged into the back of the cigarette lighter, so it should now have 12 volts to the CB. Just need to do the ground and then the orange wire for memory, and then I'll be able to put this back together and test. Alright, so I got this one all set up with the orange, and put a crimp on this end for the ground, which is going to go underneath that ground screw right here, hopefully. There we go. Now I just have to tighten it up. Hopefully that's tight enough. Otherwise we're going to have problems while we're driving down the road. Last thing I got to do is just get this connector cleaned up for the heated seats. Get that foam off of it. It's all sticky, and then I can put everything back together and test it out. Oh. Put the radio back in. Again. Okay, so I got the center console all back together. So now I'm going to plug the CB microphone in and make sure that everything is good with this before I put all the screws back together. Okay. And I had a hook over here already from an FRS radio that I used to have. And yeah, that's that. See the neutral, let's put it back in park. Turn the key. Make sure nothing explodes. Radio off, CB on. That's a good sign. See if the weather... Oh, you know what? I don't have the antenna on the roof yet. Stand by. Alright. Now the antenna's on the roof. It's channel 9. Let's check out the weather.
Sir, Fair 43. Reading, Fair 43. Sealands Grove, Fair 36. Williamsport, Fair 37. Allentown, Fair 44.
Cool.
Elsewhere around Pennsylvania at 7 p.m. Philadelphia, cloudy 49. Pittsburgh, mostly cloudy 40.
See if it turns off with the key.
41. Algena.
It does. That's good. Alright, I think we can go ahead and finish putting this back together and call this project done. Okay, so everything is back together. And it is...
Monday night, a chance of snow until midnight, then snow after midnight.
It remembered...
Snow accumulation around an inch. Lows in the mid-40s.
I'm not sure if these work.
North winds around 5 miles an hour.
The lights do.
The snow near 100%.
At least on that one. Garrett, I think, said the light is out on this one.
In the afternoon. Additional light snow accumulation.
Definitely is.
Cooler highs around 30. Northwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour with gusts up to 12.
See if scan works. Looks like the scan's working. Doesn't appear to be finding anything. Let's kick this. Nobody's broadcasting. Well, it definitely looks like it's working, so that's a good thing. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next adventure.